Lave radio? It's even louder than me. Hey, wait a minute. That can't be right.
You're listening to Lave Radio, and this is The Dex Legacy. Previously on The Dex Legacy. Nathaniel Dex and his associates, Tristan Crail, Devek Jar, and Osus Rivastava, travelled to Zart, capital city of Xenos, to watch as their highly experimental warhead was launched by the Xenosi government. The hope was to end a 12-year-long conflict in a single blow. The result was the total annihilation of the country of Rhone. The bomb, designed and built by Dr. Osus Rivastava and sold to the Xenosi by Dex Industries, reduced the people of Rhone, along with all wildlife, cities and towns, to toxic dust. The event would go down in history as the greatest human-made catastrophe the planet SP-714 had ever seen. At their father's command, Nathaniel's adopted children, Varian, Isra, and Ren, watched the event via satellite from their military camp in Dominar. Dex Legacy, Episode 2, The Hunt. Starring Chris Gregory, Warren Graham, Annika Cordes, Louis Watson, Kamara Elliott, Kelsey Griffin, Charlie Richards, Stevie Skinner, and Emily Inkpen.
Auto. News update.
News from Dex Island. The town of Omra'ak has just opened its first school to meet the...
International news, Auto.
International news. This morning, Chancellor Ovon Lee's third wife, Neverly...
Auto, is there any news from Xenos?
In Xenos, tensions are running high after the detonation of what they are now calling the Rhone missile. Universal public outcry is putting the Xenosi government under pressure to hold those responsible to account. The Xenosi Prime Minister is standing firm in his claims that Nathaniel Dex, president of the Dex Island Munitions Empire and inventor of the bomb, is responsible, having failed to make clear the destructive capabilities of the bomb.
Auto, has nothing more happened? Have they not managed to blame anyone for anything yet?
No, they are still blaming you, Nathaniel Dex.
Good morning, Nathaniel. Any news?
No, Tristan. They're still pointing the finger at me. But their government is in trouble.
Yes. My agents inform me that thanks to our bomb, the nationalist Xenosi administration is crumbling. For 12 years they've been resolute in their civil war.
Well, now the war is over.
Indeed. They succeeded in destroying their enemy, but too effectively to claim a legitimate victory. As a result, the marginalised party that has been in favour of peace for the last decade is gaining followers and rising in popularity. In a month's time, Xenos will be a very different country.
This new party, I take it they also blame me?
Yes, Nathaniel. They blame you and the current administration both.
How convenient for them. I despise party politics, Tristan. It puts idiots in charge who are more worried about greasing palms than they are about driving progress.
Fortunately, we will never have to endure it.
The Xenosi commissioned the most destructive bomb we were capable of producing. That was the brief, and we delivered. If they failed to comprehend just how powerful a bomb our scientists could produce, well, that's on them.
Agreed. It's having the desired effect at least.
Yes. We've had more commissions for powerful warheads this week than at any other time in the history of the company.
Have you taken orders for another Rhone-class missile yet?
Yes. The first scared the world so much they all want one. I've received requests from Oskil, South and North Jakra, and Vosnor.
Are you going to make the bombs?
Oh, we'll make them. But we're not selling them to anyone. I'll make an official statement tomorrow that Dex Industries will never sell another Rhone-class missile. We'll claim the moral high ground.
Very good. I spoke to Ren yesterday.
Oh?
He reminded me about his warning to us 6 months ago.
You mean that day he came in here and told us to look at those articles in the seed data?
Yes. Our ancestors sent the seed ships into the far reaches of the galaxy with a comprehensive record of books, articles, research, and video footage. What they came to be a record of everything. And he manages to find one episode in their history that comes close to what we achieved.
Well, he was right about it. It was more destructive than we predicted. More people died than we thought, and the fallout is complicated.
That was his assessment, yes. I think the essence of the call should be summarised with the words, "I told you so."
Of course. He failed to take into consideration one key fact.
And what's that?
That I don't care.
Good morning, Ren. You are in the Dominos Mountains Dex military base camp, and it is time to wake up. Would you like to hear the weather forecast?
No.
Very well. Have a good day.
It's been the same weather for a month and a half. Isra?
Get up, Ren. We need to be ready. The rebels are bringing the fight to us. I can feel it. I've been up all night.
All I feel is hungry.
You're always hungry.
Come here, will you? We've got at least 10 minutes until Varian will come and get us.
Didn't you hear what I just said? The rebels are coming, Ren. Get ready. Oh, look. There's Varian.
No, not yet.
Varian.
We're about to have company, Ren. Get kitted up.
How many are we talking?
It's nothing more or less what we're used to. About 50 in total. But it looks like they've got a little trick up their sleeve.
As usual.
They've got aircraft.
Ready.
What? How did you get dressed so fast?
Well, Varian, I've had a lot of practice lately, haven't I?
I can't even... Come on.
How long are you going to hold this against us, Varian?
Until it stops.
And what if it doesn't?
Not everyone wants a different person every week, Varian.
All 3 in the same week.
Sure, I get that. But none of them are my adopted sister.
Keep your voice down, Varian. You know no one can find out about this.
Don't we have more important things to talk about right now?
Yes. It looks like the rebels are coming from their base in the southeast.
But we cleared that base 2 days ago.
Yes. Yes, as Rui did, it must be part of the hidden tunnel network that links their bases together. I'm starting to think it would be better if we just blew everything up after every battle.
That would make a mess.
And we're here to win the war without making mess.
I'm going to talk to our father about it. See how much of a mess we can make without upsetting anyone.
He's not our father.
Okay. Fine, Varian. If you're sure. Rather you than me. You said something about the rebels having aircraft?
It looks like they've got a small aircraft. It's hard to tell.
No, it's not. There they are.
Great. They're coming straight after us.
Jake, Pax, get ready. You're with me.
They've got ground vehicles too, and those weird little, copters.
They want to be up in the air, beyond our reach.
Maybe. This is going to make such a mess of our camp.
Not the most important thing right now, Varian. Right. I'll go out to the perimeter and head them off from the north. I'll see you two when it's over.
our client in Dominar is anxious to end the ongoing conflict in the mountains. They're starting to face criticism from international interests. Tristan, how quickly can we bring an end to it?
It's difficult to say, Nathaniel. Varian, Isra and Ren are doing their best, but tactically these rebels do have the advantage.
Varian, Isra and Ren are at the cutting edge of our technological research. That's an advantage.
Yes, but they're deep in rebel territory, and their enemy knows the land.
That is why, when they took Ren prisoner, it took Isra and Varian 2 days to find him. It was a long time for him to be in enemy's hands.
Quite. All things considered, our experiment is paying off. Varian, Isra and Ren are doing well.
You trained them, Tristan. Did you think they would fail?
One never knows how a test subject will perform in the field until they have field experience. Oh, so you know that better than anyone. Devik, what do you think?
Physically, they are surpassing my expectations, as usual. Although it's hard to monitor them effectively from this distance.
They are showing progress in leadership, which is promising. Reports are that they are a far more cohesive unit than we anticipated them becoming.
Than you anticipated, perhaps, Tristan.
They're very different, Osa. They fight differently, think differently, move differently.
The treatments were the same, though. No, Devek?
Not at all. They're genetically distinct, so every round of treatments had to be individually tailored, which is why they were so costly to create.
They are not related, not connected in any way.
Except by experience. We raised them together. That is significant. No?
Perhaps.
If we may return to the point at hand, we sent them to Dominar to establish whether or not there will be useful assets to Dex Industries going forward. I think we can agree they will be, which justifies some of the cost that went into developing them.
They are 15 and 16 years old. Nathaniel, I think it's safe to say that if they continue to show the progress they've made in the last few months, then in a year they'll be very useful indeed. In 2 years they'll be invaluable.
Devek, what are your thoughts?
You know my viewpoint. Their use goes far beyond military purposes. They shouldn't be out in the world. They should be kept here, where they're safe, where they can be monitored.
Yes, thank you. Osa, we need to end this conflict. Any ideas?
Oh, my department is missiles and guns. I cannot do much more because we are required to avoid disturbing those delicate mountain ecosystems our client keeps talking about.
There was something you made last year, wasn't there? A very accurate remote missile.
So, what of it?
Would that upset the ecosystem?
It is still a bomb, Devek. It is designed to destroy life. It will not please the ecosystem.
Incoming call. Varian Dex.
Varian. What's going on?
We've lost Isra. She's been taken captive. I don't have much time. The rebels were airborne. They threw down these electric nets. Me and Ren, we avoided ours, but Isra was fighting 3 rebels when they got her. And she couldn't get out. Anyways, the electrical currents disabled her chip. We cannot track her.
Don't you know where she's gone?
No. They always retreat back to the mountain tunnels. There are thousands of them, and it's never the same ones twice.
What are you doing about this?
We brought down the aircraft, so they took her away in a ground transport. Ren's going to track her by foot, and we'll follow his chip from the air, with plenty of backup.
Good. Do what you need to do, and keep me updated.
Call terminated.
Devek, is there any chance Isra's chip was triggered by this electrical net before it was disabled?
You mean to ask me if she's already dead? I don't know.
No chance, Nathaniel. I designed them better than that.
So the thing can be disabled, but not activated?
Yes, of course. I've always hoped you would ask me to disable them. You know how I feel about those chips.
Of all the things to find problematic, Oza.
Devek, we can end their lives at a push of a button, no matter where in the world they are, and they know it. A person should not have to live with that threat.
We may have a serious problem.
You think that if Ivza escapes the rebels and chooses to run from us, we won't be able to find her?
Yes, Tristan. That is exactly what I'm thinking.
Part of me wants to see her do that. It would serve us all right.
How big a part of you?
A very small part.
Osa, Tristan, Devek, I want you all in a transport to Dominar immediately. Tristan, if she disappears, you know what to do. Osa, Devek, as soon as she is found, get another chip in her. We cannot afford to waste time on this. If she runs, we'll have a serious international weapons breach on our hands, and the weapon can think for itself. Contain it.
They took her north in one of those buggies. I'll be able to track it easily, but they've got a good head start, Varian.
You're faster than me, Ren. Just keep running. Raya and me will trace you from above.
All right, I'm ready.
Guns, swords, knives?
Yes, yes, and yes.
Find her, Ren.
I will.
I know.
Varian, we're ready. Let's go hunting.
Preparing for vertical takeoff. Initiating generators. Liftoff. Initiating autopilot.
No! Damn you, I'm the pilot. Why is that the default?
Blame Nathaniel.
Why?
Because he's usually to blame.
Locating Ren Dex. Signal found.
What? He's all the way over there already? Boy can shift.
He won't be hanging around. We've lost count of how many Dominosi rebels Isra's killed. But it's a lot. They won't be nice to her.
Do you think they'll kill her?
I don't know. But we rescued Ren from one of their torture chambers about 6 weeks ago. So whatever they'll do it fast. Ren, are you there?
Yes.
When you find out where she is, do not engage. Do not go in there on your own. Do you understand me, Ren?
Seconds count here, Varian.
I know, but losing you as well would make this a very bad day.
Have you thought about what they might be doing to her?
I'm trying not to. Don't be stupid here, Ren. Wait. Ren. Ren.
I've always hated that earpiece anyway. All right. Let's keep it quiet.
Locating Ren Dex. Signal not found.
Damn it, Raya, where did he go?
Ugh.
Signal
I can't see him anymore. If he went underground, we might not be able to track him.
Such an idiot.
Come on, Varian. You can order me around, but you can't tell him what to do. You didn't seriously expect him to listen, did you?
I always live in hope.
Locating Ren Dex. Signal not found. Locating Ren Dex. Signal
God,
not found.
shut her up.
Locating
Will you?
Ren Dex. Signal not found.
Honestly, I feel sorry for whoever's in that cave. Look! There they are. I think you can see better than me.
Locating Ren Dex. Signal found.
Yes, it's them, but she's not walking and God's, he's covered in blood.
Does she look alive?
Yes, she's holding on to him.
Well, that's something, at least.
Initiating descent protocols. Lowering rear hatch. Raising rear hatch. Rear hatch secured.
Ren, is she okay?
She's in the back. They still had her strung up in that net, and it was paralyzing her. I was too late.
But she's alive. She's okay.
Yes, but they'd started, and I was too late.
Outgoing call, Nathaniel Dex.
Tristan, report.
Isra has been recovered. Devik and Osa have fitted and activated her new chip. Devik is with her now.
What's her condition?
Docile enough.
Docile? She is traumatized. No?
Devik, how is she?
Alive. Crisis averted.
Who is with her now?
Ren.
He has not left her this whole time. He was the one who rescued her, no?
Yes. He killed 15 rebels in that cave with one sword.
Be careful, Tristan. You almost sound proud.
I almost am.
Is she in full working order?
It's difficult to say, Nathaniel.
Devik, I need a clear answer.
She has sustained hurt, but nothing that her physical enhancements cannot cope with.
She may need time to recover.
Why? Ren was captive almost 2 days and back in the fight almost immediately. She was barely gone an hour.
Some forms of torture don't take very long, Nathaniel.
I think what Osa is trying to say is...
I know exactly what Osa is trying to say, Devik, and I don't care. If Isra is physically fit, I want her back in the fight. We don't have time for any nonsense here. Our clients want these rebels dealt with. Is she in full working order, Devik?
Yes.
Good. Send her straight back out. Let her reap her revenge. There's nothing less than she deserves.
Call, Nathaniel Dex. Terminated.
The girl should have run and we should have let her.
No! Osa, we cannot let that happen, for her own sake.
Devik's right. She's a 15-year-old girl. Where would she run to? We've made her into something the rest of the world fears, and people are not kind to things they fear.
Yes, we made her. And today she took punishment for what our orders made her do.
It's easy to blame death and destruction on the one holding the gun, especially if the one holding the gun is good at causing death and destruction.
While I'm here, I'll have a closer look at Ren. He insisted he was fine after his ordeal, but I think he's not told us everything about what was done to him. If it was up to me, he'd have come straight home for a full examination. I've said it before. If I had my way, none of them would leave the lab. They would be kept where they are safe, where they can be looked after.
It's too late for that now, Devik. For better or worse. They're in the world and they must face whatever it throws at them. All things considered, it could have been worse.
Oh yes, a lot worse.
Nathaniel is right about one thing. She deserves her revenge. Perhaps her rage will put us back on schedule and help us defeat those rebels sooner.
It always comes down to costs and deadlines.
Yes, business as usual.
Business as usual.
Business as usual.
In episode 2 of The Dex Legacy, you heard Chris Gregory as Nathaniel Dex, Warren Graham as Tristan Crale, Annika Cordes as Dr. Osus Rivastava, Louis Watson as Dr. Devik Shah, Kamara Elliott as Varian Dex, Kelsey Griffin as Isra Dex, Charlie Richards as Ren Dex, Stevie Skinner as Raya, and Emily Inkpen as Auto, with music by Dr. Alan Stroud. The Dex Legacy is written by me, Emily Inkpen, and produced by Alternative Stories. If you enjoyed that episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. It really does help. If you would like to support The Dex Legacy, you can at ko-fi.com/The Dex Legacy audio drama. If you're enjoying The Dex Legacy on Lave Radio, please visit our website at www.thedexlegacy.com, where you can find out all about our cast, buy merch, support the show, and access bonus materials.
Lave Radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
A show that talks about the universe of Elite
and the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
And the fantastic
community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from the Orange Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place?
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 392 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix Defire, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, and otherwise known as Colin Ford, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have, as usual, our Head of Health and Safety, Commander Ed Levice, that's Ben Mosswoodwood.
No, you don't. I'm not in the Orange Sidewinder bar. I'm nowhere. Can't see me. Can't prove none.
There's also our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psychit.
I feel like this is going to be a really weird show.
You're having
More
premonitions,
so than usual. More so than usual. I've got like, I've got my PDI on you.
Okay. I wasn't nervous before, but I certainly am now. And of course, last but certainly not least, our Inhuman Resources Director, Commander Shan.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. So, if you wish, you can join us live. We've got Commander, I think we've got the Chris Mark IV is running around Lave Station at the moment. I'm trying to get over there personally because, unfortunately, Ben, you're still without access to Elite Dangerous.
Yeah, I have an empty PC case at the moment.
Yes, but we'll get back to that in a minute. So if you wish, you can try and join us live, hanging out in game in open at the Lave Station bar. If you can't get to us in game, you can join us at the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat, or go straight to twitch.tv/laveradio, or YouTube Lave Radio, or even Facebook and Twitter, because we're there. So let's have a quick look at what's been happening to the crew this week. Psychit, I saw what happened to you. We'll come back to it later, so we'll start with Shan.
It's been a rather interesting week, really. I've been going hypersonic in Flight Sim 2020 because I've been playing the Top Gun Maverick DLC in Flight Sim, so I've enjoyed that. It's quite complicated to try and get your top secret stealthy zoomy airplane to go hypersonic. There's a certain routine you need to go through, but that's quite a good challenge. I've been doing
Actually have air-to-air combat, or is it still just fly things?
If in the F-18 you mimic air-to-air combat. You know how in the first Top Gun film they have a little beep that when you get locked,
oh
and
yes,
the other people can tell it. It's a bit like that.
Okay, so you can play gun tag.
Kinda.
Okay.
But yeah, basically war games then.
Yeah, and I've also been doing experiments and science at McDonald's So basically, because Mrs. Shan is going keto. I've been going keto for a while, which means she doesn't eat the bun, doesn't eat anything kind of gluten-y or anything like that. So basically, when she goes to McDonald's, she just orders the burger on its own. So she'll like order 8 hamburgers on their own with just on their own. And first part of the science is some McDonald's give you all 8 burgers in a single box. Other McDonald's give you an individual burger in each individual box, so you end up with 8 boxes. So today I thought, I wonder how much if you ordered only the pickles, because you can customize your burger, can't you, at McDonald's?
Yeah.
So I went through the app and I ordered 8 hamburgers with no burger, no bun, no sauce, no mustard, everything but just the pickles. How much do you think McDonald's wanted to charge us for 8 pickles from the burger?
I'm going to guess it's going to be the full price of a meal, so I'm going to go about $5.
Higher.
Yeah, I'm going. I think it's about £1 a burger or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'd imagine the full price for the burger times 8.
It was £7.48 for 8 pickles from the burgers.
Oh, they saw you coming.
We didn't order it, of course. We just wanted to do the science. The other part of controversy in the Shan household is the name of the new kitten. So we're getting the same make kitten as the one that sadly went. So
this is Calvin Mark II.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to use Calvin because
Calvin was never called Calvin.
Well, also
it kind of spoils the Calvin and Hobbes thing that you wanted to set up.
Well, that's my point. But you see, this is Shan.
Calvin's fault he went off and died.
Well, exactly. But we only had him about 7 weeks, so it's like the name hasn't even been used. So anyway, eldest Mini Shan wants to name Arthur because they think Arthur's a good cat name. Soldier Mini Shan wants to call him Arty Target, which is short for artillery target.
All right, okay.
Jump off the old block there.
Yeah, so the kitten's about a month away, so we're still debating names and stuff. I suspect I'll lose, and I won't be able to call it Calvin because Mrs. Shan will do the girl thing and cry sadly instead of applying logic, which
I have to admit, I am with Mrs. Shan on this one. Yeah, even though Calvin's name was not officially Calvin, he was still Calvin.
Yeah, he was, but it doesn't mean to say you can't use the name again.
If I was, I'd still call him like Snowball 1, Snowball 2, Snowball 15. Yeah, that kind of idea.
You know what that reminds me of, Shan? Is that Ruby Wax was describing what it was like to grow up with her mother and her set of Jewish friends, who basically, what would happen is as soon as their little pet chihuahua died, or little pet dog died, they would go around all the animal shelters or all the pet shops to try and find a dog which looked exactly the same as the one that just died and called it exactly the same name as if it was some creepy pet cemetery thing. So I would say, yeah, don't call it Calvin Mark II, because every time you look at it, you'll think pet cemetery, and that's not something.
Well, apparently, if you've got something like £17,000 spare, you can have your pet cloned.
Yeah, so then it definitely would be a maker cat.
But it would. Well, I mean, I haven't got £17,000, but the shock value in the family would be brilliant if I came in with a little kitten that's just been cloned.
They'd be calling you Dr. Frankenstein before you know it.
Well, no, because I wouldn't be doing the cloning, would
I? Right. Okay. This has gone into a kind of creepy scientist Doofenshmirtz kind of
Anyway, so what else has been going on in the Sham household this week? Nothing much really, other than the controversy over kitten names. But the new kitten arrives in July, so we shall see. And oh yes, this week is Jubilee week, so the village is holding one of these Jubilee party things with lots of cakes and
Lots of
WI
fates and
WI sort of stuff, really.
Lots of bunting.
Oh, I was thinking, going around with only wearing a hat.
Why? Because you want to show off the crown jewels?
Well, somebody might be.
Actually, you talk about this. Sharon, I did go to one of the nearby towns the other week, and it looks like the town's crochet group have been crocheting all year, because on top of every bollard or fence wrapping, there was a little crocheted kind of covers for them that they'd gone and made. So the whole town centre was like full of red, white, and blue crochet things, which is a bit unfortunate, really, because it's really hard to crochet the Union flag in a meaningful way as to fit around a bollard. So they ended up looking like the French tricolour, which was a bit strange, but it was a nice effort, I suppose.
Oh, right, I see.
A for effort.
Right, well, if that's the case, we'll run over to Commander Aid Levice. What has been happening with you this week?
So yeah, on PC update, as Colin said, my PC went in and got professionally diagnosed, and guess what? The professionals said, "Yes, Ben, you're right. It is a problem with your motherboard." So that happened. Then I got in touch with Asus, and Asus, the stupid blankety blanks, don't have the ability to phone up for motherboards.
Oh.
So, I dug out the phone number, I phoned up and yeah, I'm sorry, if you want to do anything with your motherboard, please send us an email. Sent them an email. 24 hours later, Dear Ben, we actually don't do any support for motherboards. Everything for warranty motherboards has to be via the place you bought it from.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought consumer law was your warranty, or your initial warranty is with the place you bought it from, not the manufacturer.
I thought it was the manufacturer's warranty, but anyway. So I got in touch. I got in touch back with Scan, and they were like, "Yeah, not a problem." And they could have actually had somebody to pick it up on Friday, but I was a couple hundred miles away, so I didn't bother with that. And somebody was meant to come round yesterday to pick it up, and I watched the van on the little app.
Yeah.
And then I watched the van drive away on the little app.
Oh dear.
The van, I don't know exactly what address the van driver went to, but he didn't come to my house, and I got an alert saying driver called at place and there was nothing to pick up. So I phoned up DPD and said, "Hello, I see your van's now leaving me. Can we solve this, please?"
Right.
And the nice person at DPD looked, I was like, "Yeah, I can see he's gone nowhere near your house, has he?" I was like, "No, he hasn't, has he? Let me just get in touch with the depot and we'll get him sent right back round. You'll hear from the depot by 5 o'clock." 5 o'clock came and went. 5:30 I phoned up and they were like, "Yeah, depot aren't even talking to us now. You're best just to get in touch with the original people and get them to show up. Get them to make another appointment with us." So I did that, and that was today. And today my motherboard is now in transit.
At last.
At last.
Yes.
So I feel very. It felt weird though, pulling out taking off the AIO and removing the CPU from my motherboard was just like, I don't want to do this. I really do not want to take my CPU out, even though it's dead easy, and I know that. But it just feels wrong removing a CPU. It's like it's like taking out somebody's heart or something weird like that, isn't it?
Your silicon heart has been ripped out.
Damn
It's just
right.
the hassle of putting it back in as well,
Well,
that's the bit that I would dread.
So I have to. I will freely confess that when I put my PC all together the first time round and things like that, and I can do it, and I can do all that. But at the moment, I have got zero free time because I'm like home. I'm home for a day. I'm gone for a day. I'm home for a day. It just yeah. The idea of spending I don't have an entire day to go off and rebuild a PC and then test it out and fix what I've cocked up and things like that.
Yeah.
So I've spoken to my local repair shop and they'll basically rebuild everything for me when I get the new motherboard back. So that's all. So that's all fine, and that's just like, let me give you money, you give me working PC. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's
Some couriers are quite strange in a way because, and I won't mention the company, but
because they don't show up to the address that you said come to.
Well, no, because what the instance I'm thinking of was I was having again, I think it was some PC parts delivered, and I could track the little van that goes around, and they stopped about 6 doors down the road from where I was. And they stayed there for about an hour, and I phoned up saying, "Look, we're next on the list. I can see the van." Well, it's the driver needs a 2-hour break before he can drive and do the delivery.
Yeah.
So I said, "Oh, okay. So it'll be 2 hours later than you said." And yes, I'm afraid so because he's on a break. So anyway, I thought, well, it's just up the road. I'll walk up the road and ask him if I can have my parcel, because save him a drop and. No, not allowed to have the parcel out of the van until it's delivered to your proper address.
Yeah.
Been there.
Been there, done that. So yeah, that's been the excitement of my sort of computing week. I have been able to do some light computing using don't tell work, but using my work laptop and my cloud PC.
Yeah.
So that's been okay. But the majority of my week's been with the wife and kids, and we had fun times going swimming, and then I took the kids to the park, and I was amazed at my daughter. Like, she was climbed up this thing that's maybe about 3 stories high anyway, and it's like a platform. So it's divided in thirds. So it's like platform going up in thirds. But each platform is basically about her height. So she managed to find a way by wedging her shoes in that she was able to climb 3 stories up, wedging her shoes into the bars, and then scrambling up the third, wedge shoes in bars, and all the way up then down the slide. And her and her brother had loads of fun with that. So that was all fun. And yeah, that's been about it. That's been about it, really.
Okay. We'll move over to Commander Psychit. Is it living up to your weirdness premonitions already? Because it is for me.
It's a weird one, isn't it? It's going to be a weird one. We're going to continue along the weird ways.
Yes, I can see plenty of trips to Tangent Town all the way through this one. So, Psychit.
Would that be the weird ways or the weirding ways?
Yes.
That really dates you, Ben. Do you know that?
No, it could be just last year.
No, the reference that Ben is using.
Oh dear. No, because you can only really go for that reference from the last time it was actually used in a film, and the last time that was used in a film was in June last year.
I don't remember that. I was using the original. Well, not the original film. But
We see, dear, right. We're not going to get into that because it's still Psychit's go. Psychit.
I'm still here. I know it's surprising,
I know.
isn't it? It's weird, isn't it? You don't expect me to have fucked up by now already. It's been a good week. It's been a good week. There's been a lot going on this week. It's been wild. I haven't really stopped. You know how I took a week off because I was knackered? Well, I came back and just everything happened. So, yeah, we had Wednesday was a lot of travel, and then Thursday, I'm sure we'll get to it later, but I was going to play No Man's Sky and decided instead to play Elite, and a lot of stuff happened in Elite, which was very, very fun. And like there's just been a lot of like stupid emotional highs and lows, and just being like having a weird time of it all, and getting really prepped and hyped for stuff that for next month specifically, because of how wonderful next month is going to be. And yeah, I'm already tired again.
Oh dear. Well, you don't want you to burn you out.
I'll be fine. I'm fine. We're good. But yeah, it's been there's been a lot going on in Elite. There's a new expedition that started in No Man's Sky as well, and the new expedition in No Man's Sky is a permadeath expedition. So if you fail, or if you accidentally fall down a hill and to your death at the, let's say hypothetically you're kind of halfway through iteration 5, which is quite close to the end, and you fall to your death and then start again, you will rage quit on a Monday afternoon. That will happen. So yeah, that's been a really interesting new mechanic, and a new thing that I'm trying to get my head around as well. And Elite has been really fun. And also the Star Citizen has been nonsense, because the servers have been, because it's a free fly event and there's a couple of relatively high profile streamers been streaming it. It's for this whole free fly event, it's barely been working. which is also great, especially when I've like arranged stuff to do with friends of mine to go and visit certain places and show them around areas, or they've been showing me around areas, and we can't even load our friend list to be able to find each other to team up. It's been great.
Yeah, it is ironic how as soon as everyone who hasn't paid for the thing goes away, the servers become so much more stable.
Yeah. Well, funny that when there's less people on, the servers become more stable.
But it's just like, I understand why it happens, and I know it's technical, blah blah blah. But you do think, oh guys, seriously.
The thing is, and I was saying this the other day. I was chatting about it in my frustration to not being able to get on. I just feel like those of us who have paid copies of the game could maybe have a little bit more time to rent things, rather than like a
that'd be nice.
48-hour period, just as like a recompense, saying, look, we're really sorry, Free Fire event was an absolute disaster because you couldn't do anything. If you want to do something now, we're going to give you a little bit more time to play about with your ships. Because what that may do is it may convince more people to buy the game. And I mean, let's face it, Robert Space Industries are pretty hard up on cash at the moment. But it might help their development, and we might get Squadron 42 quicker. Who knows?
There's a sore subject for me.
Well, let's face it, we can't get it any slower.
True,
actually,
you're right.
We can. I shouldn't say that. We really can.
Yeah. Right. Well, is that it, Psychic?
I mean, yeah, I haven't done much outside of being sat on my computer prepping stuff, to be fair.
Right. That's good. Well, you know what I mean. Just insert foot into mouth. Oh dear. Anyway, okay, let's see what I've been up to. I've been playing an awful lot of Elite Dangerous. I've even went, because there is at the moment the Steam sale and the Epic sale for Odyssey, so it's about £18 instead of double that. I've gone and, I don't know if this is the right phrase, Odysseyfied my final Horizons only commander. So basically I've now got 3 Odyssey accounts all updated. So yep, that was, and I've been playing about with that, and I must admit, again, thanks Ben, but the upgrade for the upgrade for the graphics card and the PC I've got, it's making Odyssey run so much better. So I was running a couple of streams on Saturday and Sunday where basically I was investigating all the planetary side points of interest, because I've still got to match up which ones are the old Horizons ones and which ones are the new Odyssey ones, and I'm just making notes going through, which I thought was which was fun. I think it was surprisingly a lot more fun than I thought it was. And let's see, personally wise, well, we seem to have a bit of a worry about the rabbit, because we seem to have rats underneath the hutch.
You had a fox that was trying to attack it.
Is this a Xeno bunny?
Yeah, this is at the moment. We think we've got a couple of rats, or some rats, hiding underneath the shed and the rabbit hutch, and I think one of them has gnawed their way into the hutch to try and get the water bottle. So we're waiting for the council to come round with their big anti-rat stuff, and yeah, of course, thankfully it's quite far back from the house, so we're not that worried about rats getting close to the house. But what?
That's actually quite a vivid memory I have as a child, because we had a couple of rabbits outside in a hutch off the ground, and the rabbits are called Mickey and Jubilee. Anyway, I came out one morning just before school to give the rabbits their food, and in their hutch was a rat. It somehow got in to the hutch, and yeah, so I dealt with it in the country way, which was to get a spade and hit it repeatedly until I killed it. And it was quite disturbing, actually, just expect to see these little fluffy bunnies and see this horrible brown rat in there.
Yeah, I mean the main thing that we're worried about is basically we've got to try and make sure that the rabbit's okay until the council comes around to deal with the rats. So yeah. Next, I can see myself repairing any holes in the rabbit hutch over the next couple of days, and yeah, we'll be able to get back to normal, thankfully. Yeah. So yeah, because one of the things we discovered was that we were going through an awful lot of rabbit food, and I was there going, he's not eating that much. And what was happening was that the rats were actually getting into where the rabbit food was held in the shed and munching their way through. So basically, we've had to move all the food out and all that kind of stuff. And yeah,
actually, sorry, just looking at Ventura in the chat. No, it's bad. It's quite bad to get any make of cat other than a puma to try and get rid of rats, because the rats fight really hard and can actually kill or injure cats quite badly.
Yeah, they can actually, and we've got about 6 or 7 cats in the neighbourhood, which you thought would have actually done something to keep mice and rats and things like that away, because we've seen one of them just take out a pigeon this afternoon, which would have been nicer if they took out a rat instead, but so good time in virtual life, not so great time in in real life. Ugh. Anyway, and don't get me started about the passport office. It's just doing my head in. Right, Shan, you got a couple of quick updates for the development news.
I'd actually just thought of the question when I was listening to the opening of the show, where it goes, the best show this side of Dizzo. And I was picked up on my pronunciation of Lave or Lave, depending on how last week. And I was just thinking, I don't pronounce it Dizzo. It's Diso. It's not Dizzo. It's how do you say it?
Who says Dizzo? Because I agree,
Fozza.
it is Dizzo.
It's Fozza.
Oh, it's Fozza said Dizzo. Okay.
Yeah, it was the kind of the best show this time of Dizzo. It's the way he
I think it's like a little bit of like an Americanization or like that kind of thing in an attempt to be like radio announcer voice. It's definitely Lave, not Lave, though.
Oh yeah, even
Yeah,
though
unless you're David Braben.
I mean, but we're not, though, are we? No
well,
matter.
I were not the hillbilly redneck radio because they originally described it as Lave, which
Are we French?
which is not that far from the Glaswegian of Lave.
Aye.
Hey, residents, the lady of the house speaking.
So
Actually,
yeah.
Colin, talking about Lave and pronunciations, would you
God.
like to tell people where Ventura is this evening?
No, he
Yes.
doesn't. Don't do this to him.
Where is he?
Ventura is actually in game, and he's at the Iraxan Lane on planet A4A in the DG Canem Venticorium system.
So close.
Oh,
So
very
close.
So close.
Venaticorum, Venaticorum, I think is
That's
how
what. That's how I'd go with it.
Yeah.
Yes, right. Okay, everyone take a drink. You know the rules. You sod. Anyway, let's move on.
And thank you very much, Norman, for being a test pilot over there.
Yes. Well, have you got any other questions then, Shan? I thought you had a couple.
It's just that when I play No Man's Sky, but when I say No Man's Sky, in my head, I'm pronouncing it Nomansky.
Oh, I do the same. And I've been deliberately saying it's the Queen's Jubilee.
It is the Queen's Jubilee, though. They did. There was like a huge amount of merch that went out for the Queen's Jubilee and not the Queen's Jubilee. It's amazing.
Was it really?
Yeah, it's going for quite a lot of money.
Oh, Jesus!
You can get Queen's Jubilee mugs.
Can you get Queen's Jubilee jelly?
You might be able to get Queen's Jubilee plates. I don't know. You can have jelly on said plate, but it's on the Queen's
That
Jubilee.
sounds like how Del Boy would pronounce it.
Yeah, I was just about to wish everybody a lovely jubilee, but never mind. Let's move on from there. Right. Sorry, I'm just trying to put my jaw back.
Get your tongue back in.
So that's what. No, I'm not going to do that. Anyway. Close call to there. Right. Let's have a quick look at the development news which has happened this week. Well, there's been a couple of things. Obviously, the Discovery Scanner came out on Monday. You'll notice that the Discovery Scanner these days actually appears on the Elite Dangerous website. They put a link. They put a small announcement on the forums and then have it just point to the website now. So they touch on, obviously, update 12. Update 12 is coming on the 7th of June because of the lovely jubilee. So, there's been a lot of complaint mostly from them over the other side of the pond. They don't seem to understand that this is a weird bank holiday that I think has crept up on everybody. Because normally they used to... Yes,
it has for me. It has for me. I wasn't. I've had like so much stuff planned for the beginning of June that I realise I have to push out quite quickly. So yeah, it's been a bit of a one.
I don't know what.
I'm not complaining about the fact we get an extra day. I'm just thinking that it's thrown a lot of people.
I genuinely thought we had like a couple of extra weeks.
Yeah, I don't know why the Americans are complaining about the Jubilee, because they're sending a representative over, aren't they?
They're what?
They're sending a royal representative over to the Jubilee, apparently, aren't they? If you read the tabloids.
Oh, I don't normally. Can't be that important. And anyway,
well, is Harry coming back or something?
He's coming back to visit.
It's the Meghan show, isn't it?
Oh, great! So that means that all the papers can get all racist again. They must be loving that. Right. Anyway,
Christmas for the sun.
Oh,
Holy
God,
shit!
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, we know about Update 12's new release date, which will be on the next episode of Lave Radio, hopefully. So we'll have notes to talk about. Patch notes.
Ooh.
I know.
I won't believe it until I see it, Colin. It's not...
Yeah, knowing our luck, what they'll do is they'll delay the patch notes till 10 o'clock on Tuesday evening.
Probably.
No, it'll just have one line saying this page intentionally left blank, and that's it.
I do have a slight spoiler possibly for the patch notes if you want one.
Okay, then. This should be good.
So, there have been problems with the not conflict zones, the defense things, especially if you maybe are a little bit quick off the mark shooting people, and settlements being rather nasty and things like that. But apparently, that is a bug that should be fixed with update 12. Hopefully,
Is this the defend the MacGuffin thing in the settlement mission?
yeah, this is the defend the MacGuffin thing in the settlements.
Yeah, you've got to defend Commander MacGuffin.
So hopefully that some of the issues there at least will be fixed, and you might even be able to shoot down the ship as you know when you start the event, and everybody else starts shooting the ship, but if you start shooting the ship before the guys land, then the outpost gets a face on with you and starts shooting you instead, or at least you get bounty for it and things like that. And
so
that kind of thing, yeah, they'll take offense at you shooting the same thing they're all shooting at.
So it's kind of like the Geonosis problem.
Sort of that kind of idea, but hopefully that should be fixed with update 12.
Right. Well, next thing up is they were discussing the Azimuth saga, which we will probably be discussing later as well.
No, nothing happened. It wasn't very interesting.
I'm sure it wasn't, Psykid. Just bouncing off the walls. They have changed frame shift live. It's normally due on a Thursday, but again, thanks to the lovely Jovely, it's been moved forward a day. So it's on Wednesday the 1st. So tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. British Standard Time. It's got the latest community news, and they'll be speaking with 2 members of the narrative team to discuss all things Azimuth, as well as aspects of the Elite Dangerous narrative. I'm actually looking forward to that because the last one they did with Tom was actually really interesting. And they had a commander's creation of what looks like a Minecraft asp in front of things. And of course, someone's cockpit that makes everybody jealous, because that is certainly full-on man cave. That is. Shan.
I was just wondering what they did wrong to have a live stream almost at home time on the day before a 4-day weekend, because it's a bit like looking at your diary and realise you have a conference call at 10 to 5 on a Friday, isn't it?
Well, then hopefully they'll all be full of holiday cheer. They know that this is it. Last day of term and all that.
Nah, they'll be thinking, "Hang, I wish I'd had this on Tuesday."
Well, moving on from there, we've had a update from Howard Chalkley about the updated API. You'll find it under the journal docs for Odyssey Release 5. It looks like version 34 has come out with changes ready for Odyssey up to update 12. These changes include a change for the book taxi entry, the codex entry. It's added the body ID. It's got buy micro resources, which is interesting. We've got FC materials, FSS body signals, extra info added during a scan, which is actually an update from update 6 last year, and a bug fix to resurrect the event, which was sometimes written with a blank strings. So that should help a lot of the third-party tools integrate update 12 into their systems quite quickly. And it's nice that they've actually put this ahead of time, because normally there's about sort of like a week, maybe a 2-week lag in the third-party tools where they integrate these new APIs. So thumbs up to Frontier for actually putting this out beforehand, I think.
I think to think about it, it's a good thing.
Yeah. So we knew it was going to be a quiet week this week because, obvious reasons. development-wise. Psychic, Frameshift Live.
I just like on the topic of the having guests on again, talking about the narrative saga, which makes sense because like talking about the Azimuth saga does make sense because it's been a really, really slow week for the Azimuth saga. No revelations or anything have appeared, but it's still pretty cool that we're now in the second fortnightly show and they have more guests again. I am every time they do an episode, they do a Frameshift Live and they have a guest on, I'm getting more and more hopeful that this absolutely is the norm, and I'm very excited about being able to have these sort of like insights into what they're doing. Can't get too excited because we all know it'll go to shit, but it's quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, we've liked it when they've had either a developer or one of the designers on so they can explain the thinking behind the missions, because I think sometimes you get members of the community who just basically turn up and go, oh, this is not working and it's horrible and they should do this. But then when the designer actually explains the reason why, like for instance with the Scorpion, you could just basically line up the Scorpion, just mow people down left, right and centre. So it wasn't really fair for people just dropping out of the dropship, then you kind of understood where they were coming from, and you're able to forgive the fact that the spread pattern of the Scorpion is a little bit more scatterbrained. Ben, you want that to be the norm as well?
Yeah, sorry, I was just talking to Psychic there, but yes, I do want having these developers to come up to be the norm, because no offense meant to God, I'm too busy with work. No offense meant to the CMs. I nearly call them QA and BAs there. To the CMs, but it's not their job to build missions.
No.
Or whereas it is Tom's job to design missions. It's the developers actually who build the missions know how the missions are built and know why they're built that way, and potentially know why they're not built in the absolute fabulous way that you've got in mind.
Yeah, Shan.
Yeah, I actually agree with you both on that. I think being told the rationale behind a decision always makes accepting a decision easier when it comes to gaming and missions and things like that, because as you say, you think, oh, why isn't this working? This is stupid. Why didn't they do X, Y, and Z? If you're actually told in a way that isn't patronizing or anything like that, actually the reason why we designed it this is because of X, Y, and Z, and later on it will come into play and all this sort of stuff. You actually think, oh yeah, I can see that. That's a really good idea. Gosh, you're clever. It just really brings that forward. I think it should very much be the norm for these sorts of things, because it does build a lot of goodwill and trust in the community to have that explained to them and outlined.
I want to add to that as well, because it, like the way you described it then, Shan, it reminded me that we do have the benefit, she says in very, very stressed inverted commas, we do have the benefit of having like a community full of backseat developers. So if they hear something that kind of makes sense to them, they're going to be like, yes, gosh, you're clever. That's very clever. That's a clever thing. It makes sense to me. So I think to some extent that certainly will appease them.
Can I just say, the drinking game that we have?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shall we add backseat developers?
No, I've just realised something. This is the first time we've had all four of us agree on something wholeheartedly. So how many drinks do you have for that?
You've got to down it. You've got to down your pint of vodka.
Yeah, I don't think you should drink at all for that.
Because... In fact, you go stone cold sober for a month, not 5 months. No. Don't do it to me.
No. The reason why I say that is because it's such a rare event. The beer or wine, whatever, would have gone off and be flat by the time you had to take another drink. So you wouldn't just open it, especially. You just. Just don't bother taking a drink because it's so rare you won't get to finish your drink.
But if you hang on, if you
I don't
down
think
your
Shan's
drink,
ever played a drinking game.
no,
with her.
I don't think so either. It's a bit worrying. This. Yeah.
You're right. I haven't ever played a drinking game. Neither have I ever been drunk. So yeah.
Does that explain something?
No, it's just something else to add to the algorithm.
Right.
I'm too tight to get drunk. Because what's the point in spending a fortune on something that'll make you feel rotten in the morning and you'll pee it out overnight anyway? So what's the point?
Or is it in case you're too tight to buy a round?
Well, that too, but
there we go. We got to the truth eventually. Right. Let's have a look at the in-game events. What has been happening this week? Right. Well, last Thursday on the 26th of May, for some reason, the Derelict Generations ship started to undergo repairs. Now, this was the good old Golconda. That is being started. The Artificers clan, who turned up in their space dredger, started to repair this generation ship, and they've been very, very busy, as we'll find out later in the week. Shan?
yeah, when I read that, it sort of made me a little bit sad in a way because the way I likened what they're trying to do with Generation Ship is a little bit like I saw at Fully Charged Live the other week, where they'd taken a DeLorean and turned it into an electric car by like putting Tesla running gear under. And yes, it was cool because it was a DeLorean and really fast, but it's like you've ruined the original by updating it. So I kind of wish they'd leave it alone and just let it drift around in its original state rather than trying to mess with it.
There's more to come, so just hold your fire on that one. On the Thursday, the 26th of May, the Kumo crew confirmed that they crushed the rebellion. So basically, I think anybody that stood up against the Kumo burger creating pirates basically got turned into burger meat themselves. I do apologize. It might end up with maybe a pirate robot eye in your burger, maybe, or maybe the occasional bit of peg leg. So yes, that's you never ask what goes into those burgers.
I wonder how much it would cost them to not have the burgers and just buy the gherkins.
Probably an arm and a leg.
Very good.
Not the whole thing, just arm and leg. Friday, the 27th of May, Rackham, out fresh from his trillionaire party, has announced he's going to run for federal president next year. I wonder if there's any other millionaires that you could put that to a real life parallel. Next thing, we want to put a wall up around the Federation, I think.
So now just picturing, say, Bill Gates and Elon Musk running for president.
Oh, what with Richard Branson as well?
Well, no, he's British, isn't he?
He can't run for president.
Are we talking Federation president? They can.
No, we're talking America here.
We're doing real life parallels.
Oh, isn't Elon Musk South African? Is he? I know he's South African, isn't he? But I don't know if he's been naturalized.
Does he have, like, American?
I think I don't know.
Does he qualify?
Well, he's rich enough, so he probably does qualify.
Probably, he can probably pay his way into it. It's fine.
Actually, he can't, because Arnold. They were trying to line up Arnold Schwarzenegger to run for presidency, but because he was born in Austria and got his American citizenship, he cannot run for president.
But you have to be born American.
You have to be born American in order to run for president. They put that in to stop, to basically stop the British monarchy coming over, getting American citizenship, becoming president, and going, oh, by the way, we're all British again. that is the reason for it.
I like that idea. It's nice and devious.
And I'm quite sure if there are any of our American listeners who know that I've got that wrong, they will tell me.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that's the reason.
Mind you, Elon Musk could probably buy Mexico, which is almost as good, isn't it?
Or Canada.
Yes. Anyway, off on tangents again. On Monday the 30th, no, this is what we're going to be talking about in the main subject. So, spoiler alert for later in the show. New discovery links Azimuth to the INRA. So, we'll talk about that later. And then today, the 31st of May, it seems that the Golconda has been completely and utterly refitted, including a newly installed frameshift drive. So this ship is not going to be like a generation ship. It's going to be like the space dredgers, where they can jump and jump and jump. And it does seem that the people who populated the Golconda, they really want to go back on that ship and revert back to the life they had. They want to become space gypsies, which I think's great.
Nah, heresy.
Right. Okay, Psychic, if you've got a link to the main topic, we'll bring it in then.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, look, I need to park that because it ties in with everything else. I think it's going to, and it makes me very excited.
I like this. So Chris Mark 4 has now just said, are you saying that Harry and Meghan are on a long con? Because that means that Harry and Meghan's kid can run for president.
Only if it's on,
like the Daily Mail there, Colin. You got to watch yourself.
Colin, only if it's on Netflix.
Only if it's on Netflix. Yes, the revolution will be televised. Right, time of the week again for the store alert.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your
And welcome back. Well, there does seem to be something in the store alert this week, and that is they've given the ASP the Speedway racing stripes, which means that those wonderful racing liveries they've got that they had on the Adder and other ships, that is now in the store for the ASP. That comes in red, green, pink, black, yellow, and blue. I'm actually quite tempted because I always like putting decent ship skins on my ASP, which is not a euphemism. So, yes. Shan.
A couple things. I don't mind the racing skins, although the ASP is not a ship I would say as a racing ship in terms of outright speed. I guess if you were buckyballing across the galaxy, it would be a reasonable thing to put on as a racing ship. But yeah, I'm not really a fan of these. The pink ones, I don't like. It looks like something from Bake Off. And on the store alert song this week, is it my imagination, or have it got more dubstep? Have we got a new version out? Because that seems to be more dubstep than we usually have dubstep.
No, that sounded the usual amount of dubstep to me. But then again, I'm not really down with the dubstep. But I do know that JN Tracks, salute to JN Tracks for the wonderful store alert songs. Yeah, he has
sorry,
supplied anything new.
Yeah, Mac is sorry. It said the audio on Discord speeds up and slows down randomly. That's why it sounded more dubstep, apparently.
Yeah, that is true. It all depends on how Discord and stuff is happening. There's nothing wrong with dubstep. I quite like it. It's just I'm not an expert on dubstep. I guess I'm showing off my generational gap thing there. I must admit though, I think for the next buckyball race though, I'm going to go for one for the Cobra. I'm going to go and get the Speedway ones from the Cobra, because as much as the Lave Radio or the LaveCon skin matches the Cobra, I just think for the buckyball, the regulation Cobra, you need one of these skins. And I know that Psychic's going to love the pink one.
Don't really fly my Asp Explorer that much. I have one. I haven't flown it for a long one. I've got the pink on the I've got the pink racing skin on the Corvette, obviously, but I haven't on my racing Corvette. But I haven't really. I feel like there's probably better things that I might be able to spend my arcs on in the future.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there is one thing. As we're here with the store alert, we will talk about our own kind of store alert, if you like. We have some news about LaveCon, supplied by Karen. If I can find it, I think it's a little bit further up. Here we go. Karen asks us, could you please remind people that Platinum VIP tickets for LaveCon and upgrades will be unavailable after the 1st of June, i.e. tomorrow. Karen needs time to order items in, you see. So she will be ordering polos, fleeces. So if you want those, do order soon. Polos and fleeces will still be available, but sizes will be limited by the order. So in other words, to guarantee for them to have the size you want, you've got to really order now. So yeah, that's the that's the LaveCon store alert, if you like. As far as anything from Frontier, we have nothing official to announce at the moment. We know that Arthur said that they'd want to turn up, but it all depends on what kind of capacity. So at the moment, we'll let you know one way or the other by closer to when we find out. So I think it's now time to take a break, and we'll come back with, I don't know, some discussion about something.
You want a working classic? Built stronger to last longer? A ship that'll go on and on, with no dangling wires? Jump across the black, haul to every station, and when the Goids come close, we got some firepower too. Like on Spaceways, engineered and mechanically designed to stay on the job. Put a Lakon on your payroll.
This is a public service announcement from the Fuel Rats. Please stop what you're doing and pay attention. If we can rescue you, we will, but you can help us help you by following these easy steps. 1. Fly 50 light seconds or so from the system's main star and drop out of Supercruise. 2. Note down the current system and the nearest stellar body. 3. If you're on emergency life support, log out immediately. 4. Go to fuelrats.org and click Get Help. 5. Stay calm, hold your breath, and let our seasoned professionals do what they do best. The Fuel Rats. We have fuel, you don't. Any questions?
Have you been missold PPI? Python Protection Insurance was missold if you didn't want it, ask for it, or need it.
I was missold Python Protection Insurance and I got a claim worth 3,000 credits.
At Cowell & McGrath, we are ready to pursue claims for pilots who were sold PPI, even though they didn't have an escape pod.
When my partner's ship was destroyed, the insurance became invalid. I settled out of court for enough credits to restart my narcotics and weapons shipping business.
Millions have been missold Python protection insurance they can never claim, simply because they don't have an escape pod. Why should you pay for not reading the small print?
My husband was missold PPI. As a result of our claim, we now own Jupiter.
Cowell & McGrath, turning your carelessness into profitable lawsuits.
And welcome back. Now, before we continue, this next section, and we don't know how long it's going to last for, I think we should be, it's our responsibility to say spoiler alert from now on, because we're going to talk plot. Because, believe it or not, we've actually had some this week because there was no CG. Psychit, you were the first person on scene for this.
I don't know that I was the first. I think I was pretty early on, just like to do with my proximity. But I'd like to think that I was early. I know we had like a metric ton of canon in chat.
Yeah, but canon were following you, weren't they?
I was just in the right place at the right time, mate. That's all it was.
Excellent. Do we want to quickly let Shan get his
I was
thoughts
just
in?
thinking. As soon as you said that, I think we need a spoiler alert song.
Spoiler.
You gonna write it, Shan?
Yeah, you've got
to have a go.
It's
On
like
you go then.
Dennis Waterman. He can only star in it if he sings the theme tune.
Well, I can't do the music bit. I can do the lyrics.
No, just acapella it. Go for it now. Freestyle it.
No, because it would sound like the story alert song. Because I've got that in my head at the moment.
That's okay. Just freestyle the story alert. Spoiler alert.
How about spoiler alert? How's that?
That's like Davros singing. Sorry.
Put your money where the mouth is, and let's hear yours then, Shan.
It's the first time I've ever been compared to a singing Dalek.
Let's all do it. Let's do it in harmony then. Let's all do it in one.
No, we're waiting for yours, Shan. Come on, you put yourself out there.
Yeah,
Okay.
it has to be Shan. Come on.
Okay. Spoiler alert.
I would say don't give up your day job.
I don't have that as a day job. Come on then, Psychic. Your turn then.
No, I didn't volunteer. I didn't say that we needed one. This is on you, Shan. You have to own it.
Okay, JN Tracks, if you're listening to this, that is a challenge and a half.
And you turn what Shan did into something decent.
If you
and Colin. Come on, Ben. No, come on. You told me to put my money with the bow.
No. I wasn't the one who went off and said, you need to do this.
Yeah, I volunteered. Ben and Psychic never did. Shan, you just drop yourself in it. And we are just, I don't mind. I know I can't sing. But
I said, should we have a spoiler alert song?
No, you said we should have. There is a very, very, very big distinction there.
And that's an implied question.
Oh, he's trying to wriggle out of it now.
I know, right?
No.
On the back foot, sir.
You know what? I think Jay and Tracks.
Half of the crew has chickened out. So
yeah, no, we have not chickened out. Yeah,
they have not chickened out. They never volunteered in the place.
Friends who might be listening, there's going to be spoilers coming up. So if you don't want to be spoiled, highly recommend you skedaddle, okay? There we go, that works.
Yes, right. Okay, then. Like I was saying, Commander J and Tracks, if you can do something decent with that, I swear I will send you a bottle of a reasonable bottle of Glenmorangie, I think. So I can't wait to hear what he comes up with. So Psychic, let's talk plot.
Because the scene,
yes,
as it were. You're just floating about in the galaxy like a normal Thursday afternoon, when suddenly in one's inbox one pops a tip off, but it's not a normal tip off. It's
Oh,
not
no.
like one of these things where you don't pay attention to it. It's a message where there has been a directions to go to a system, some planetary coordinates, and the tantalizing message reading, "Who is salvation?"
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes. Now, you were like I said, you were one of the first people to get this, and because you were on the way to the Golconda, you thought, I know, that's not far. I'm going to go looking.
yeah, we were on our way in the Eupaniclus. We were on our way to the Golconda, and I was like, it was like at the end of Hot Fuzz, like the big hand says it's time to rock and roll, and you do a full handbrake turn and go the other way. That was how it felt. But yeah, it was really cool. We found a station, found a not a station, found a planetary base that, let's face it, looks a little worse for wear, and we have 5 new logs.
We do, and we have to point out this is one of the broken down INRA bases which hasn't been discovered before. Yeah,
It's an INRA base. It's an INRA base. There's quite a few INRA bases that tell the story. Now, if any of you have done, and this is for, like, if you're a new player, I'm not talking to you guys. I'm kind of like more talking to newer players. If any of you have done material gathering and you're like, what's the quickest way to get data? You can get the logs from John Jameson's Cobra, and that kind of rounds off, or is like the ending to the INRA story, as it were. So if you're even just casually aware of it and just like a little bit of engineering, that's sort of like, you might know a little bit of the story from that end. But there's a lot of INRA bases and a lot of story that leads up to that.
yeah. So, okay, Shan, just quickly on the story before we go on a little deeper into this particular encounter.
Yes, it's interesting. The logs are mostly old logs with a bit of extra info tagged on there. Because part of the log I saw tells the story of the mycoid virus, which was featured in Elite Frontier First Encounters, and in that game you get the mission. You are the Jameson they talk about in the logs. So that's kind of good throwback. There was a choice though.
Actually, you're not. You're not in Frontier First Encounters.
Well, I didn't change my commander name, so I was. But anyway,
no. Let's just get this a little bit clear about Frontier First Encounters. At no point do you deliver the mycoid virus. There was the option to, but that never worked because of the bugs. You could eventually just get the Thargoid ship, or you got the Turner's Quest. You didn't kill off the Thargoids with the mycoid virus because they'd already disappeared from the mycoid virus.
Isn't the original John Date Jameson from an even earlier version of Elite?
Yeah, John Jameson is supposed to be from the original version of Elite. That's supposed to be the original 84 one, where you had the Thargoids and the Thargoids war happening in the background. And then you had Frontier, Elite 2. There wasn't any Thargoids in that at all. And then there was First Encounters, which originally was supposed to be an add-on disc, but yeah, legal reasons and a whole lot of court cases later it came out. And in that one, originally, and if I can't remember who the publisher was. If the publisher had actually let Frontier finish the game, Game Tech, that was it. They did exactly what they did with Battle Cruiser 3000, is that they shoved it out when it wasn't ready, and basically David Braben blew a gasket over it. It's pretty obvious, and Q court cases, etc., etc.
I'm going to take an irony drink on that one, I think.
Oh, you have no idea how much irony we're drinking right now. But the upshot of all that is that the Thargoids had actually This was about the return of the Thargoids, or a version of the way the Thargoids would return to the Elite universe. Now, what Michael Brooks said about Elite Dangerous was that Frontier First Encounters is no longer canon. So basically, whatever happened in First Encounters didn't happen, and this is kind of what's happening in Elite Dangerous is kind of a retelling.
Commander Retcon.
Commander Retcon, if you like. So, Psychid, you had landed, and then you came across logs.
Yes, 5 of which I believe we can play.
Okay, let's start with log number 1 if we can.
I only have the option to play the entire set of logs, unless you want me to try and pause at the optimum moment. Do you trust me to try and pause?
Play them all. Play them all. It'll be fine. It'll be
Play
absolutely fine.
All right.
Okay.
This is Caleb Wycherley, Vice President of Research at Azimuth Biochemicals. I've been assigned oversight of our work with INRA over the next few months. While the financial aspects of the contract are considerable, there is much to be gained from this new partnership. INRA possesses a number of remarkable talents with whom a positive working relationship will benefit Azimuth's continued growth. The opportunities of such a network will help establish a market lead over Pharmasapien. Perhaps in time that second-rate company will learn its place in the broader picture. One can hope, at least. Azimuth's role in the anti-Thargoid initiative is encouraging. But this ongoing war is tiresome. The resources spent on proving that humanity is the dominant species in the galaxy would be better served elsewhere. I find the Thargoids' persistent aggression towards us offensive. INRA's work may be the best chance we have to end the conflict. On that note, Azimuth will help the development of a biological weapon. We have several potential compounds which show some promise. Our expertise in biochemical research will no doubt prove valuable to the initiative. I'm eager to see what the future holds. A fortuitous development has occurred. Lady Luck smiles upon us. Our biological weapons research has shown limited success up to now. However, a research assistant of INRA has stumbled upon the incredible potential of a fungus, of all things. An agricultural experiment involving Thargoid technology revealed the fungus's highly damaging properties. I understand the researcher had to bypass his superior to bring this discovery to light. A weaker-willed individual would have disregarded the results as instructed. Fortunate for us, this man is made of sterner stuff. I expect the researcher will receive little official recognition, however. It's amusing, really. This man may have uncovered the means of ending the war, yet the nature of INRA's work will ensure that humanity never knows his name. The subsequent meeting about this fungus's potential for weaponization was enlightening. From the very specific wording used by lead INRA figures, I suspect that information is being withheld from subcontractors such as myself. Understandable, of course. Still, I have a strong suspicion that INRA possesses at least one live Thargoid specimen. I'm keen to witness a live test on Thargoid physiology. I'll spend the evening with my peers. It shouldn't be too difficult to persuade them that my presence would be beneficial for such a test. The live Thargoid test was fascinating, to say the least. The new scar across my face is evidence of that. I arrived shortly before the test was scheduled to take place. As the fungal compound, now termed mycoid, was prepared, the Thargoid specimen broke out of its holding cell, the last in a series of escape attempts. There were multiple fatalities, and I am fortunate not to be counted among them. Medical treatment was a success, though my left eye will need further surgical attention. The creature was savage and difficult to subdue. One wonders how these mindless things develop the impressive technology they use. Despite my injury, I was ready to return for the introduction of the mycoid compound. The results were exactly as hoped, resulting in the Thargoid's demise. Some INRA personnel have requested transfers away from the project, citing the ethical concerns of living test subjects. These people clearly lack the will to protect humanity by any means necessary. The mycoid compound has been approved for mass production at several INRA facilities. Azimuth's contribution to the manufacturing process has been noted. It now falls to my team to propose methods of delivering the compound to Thargoid targets. A missile seems the logical solution, though questions of mycoid containment and virulence upon impact must first be answered. The meeting with leading INRA figures has concluded. Final preparations of the mycoid weapon are underway at Tail Keep. The plan is to send a long vessel towards the Thargoid hive ship that recently attacked Carmichael Point. Not many pilots possess the courage or the skill to complete such a mission. I suspect that a member of the Pilots Federation will be required, given the challenges of this assignment. A list of potential candidates is being drawn up. I've reviewed the classified documentation related to the mycoid weapons payload. For such a highly secretive organization, INRA's network security protocols took only a few hours to bypass. It seems INRA leaders anticipate the mycoid virus will inflict significant damage to not only the mothership, but also its occupants. The payload has been specifically designed to do so. While I approve of the decision to eradicate the many Thargoids on board, communication records reveal a convoluted discussion to reach agreement on this tactic. I wonder why the decision to strike a decisive blow against our enemy was such a difficult one. Earlier today, I secured a regular supply of progenitor cells. My recent brush with death served as a reminder of my own mortality. And there is far too much work to do in a typical human lifespan. The operation to fully restore my sight was a success, but has left my eye completely white. This appears to have prompted a new nickname among my staff, some of who are now referring to me as the Witch. The wordplay is amusing, I suppose, but perhaps such a pseudonym will have its uses. The mycoid weapon has been successfully delivered by Commander John Jameson. The brave pilot did not return home. A shame. I would have liked to shake the hand of a man who has contributed so profoundly to the end of the Thargoid War. Reports suggest that the remaining Thargoid forces are in full retreat from human space. Some INRA personnel are convinced this is a decisive victory from which the Thargoids will not recover. But I disagree. It is likely they will resurface in time, too impudent to accept human dominance. We must prepare for that eventuality. INRA has served its purpose, but the cross-superpower nature of the organization leaves it vulnerable to corruption and politics. Azimuth is well suited to take up the mantle of protecting humanity against any Thargoid retaliation. Our rivals, such as Pharmasapien, cannot be trusted with this task. They lack the patience and the stomach for what is required. Only Azimuth, under my direction, will be capable of the necessary action to wipe the Thargoid race out forever. If I must be humanity's salvation, then so be it.
Our mic's live.
Yeah.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun. I think we'll just do a little edit there. Anyway, right. So we seem to have worked out, or have been told, the witch's identity, and it does imply that the witch and salvation is the same person. Psychit, you had the best reaction to this because we also unfurl on your stream. You kind of went a bit boggy-eyed.
You know what? You know what's really, really cool is there are so many people. I read so many conversations with loads of different people about who we think the witch is, about who we could possibly think the witch would be, and it not even for a moment did it twig for me right at the beginning of that thing. This bloke introducing himself as Caleb Wycherley, and I was like, Sure, I'm not even going to notice that. That's not even going to matter. And then as soon as he said they've been referring to me as the witch, I was, because it's a very usual like a narrative mechanic to distract people with gender, and I think they've managed to do this really, really beautifully in this case. Because we were reeling off so many different women who we already knew who it could be. No one, and especially when they started very heavily referring to Salvation as him, no one made that connection.
No one made that connection. We just focused on the fact, witches are all girls.
Yeah.
So therefore, we must be after someone female.
Exactly, and that's on no fault on anyone's side, because of course you're going to do that.
It's our laziness.
It's literally just like the easiest red herring for someone working the narrative to chuck that in, and it was, for me, I am so happy with how well they did that, because I don't know anyone who was going, yeah, Salvation's also the witch. Salvation will show the link to be linked to Azimuth. I personally thought that Salvation was going to be linked to either like Inra or Aegis or Aegis, or bring all of that forward.
Well, they kind of are.
But yeah, they are. That was, but to have like the Azimuth connection as well, that I didn't see. And when I have this like moment of recollection when we were sort of like scanning all of the scanning the beacons or the little communication things, and to check what they are, you have to go in and see what they're called, and it was called the logs are called the Azimuth contract.
Yeah.
And when I read that, I was like, legitimately, what the fuck? I just like tying everything in a nice bow. I also have a long-term theory about why they've started doing the Golconda stuff now as well. But
okay, well, we'll come back.
We can come back to that.
We'll come back to that in a minute. I must admit, the one thing that did surprise me is, that I thought that the witch and Salvation were two separate people, and I know that we've had a little bit of a argument about this. It's like it implies that he's Salvation. He hasn't actually claimed to be Salvation just yet. We haven't got the full evidence to say, right, that's
You say that.
Yeah, I know I say it. The chances
say that.
I just think that it just gives them enough wiggle room to put an extra twist in just yet. Until I see them say, oh, yes, I am Salvation, then I'll probably think, yeah, but...
Well, have you seen the hidden messages in the tweets?
Actually, that's not something I've done yet.
Okay.
Explain... Oh, well, hang on a sec. Ben, do you want a quick jump in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Colin kinda here. It's like, if I must be humanity's salvation, then so be it. He's it's kind of saying I'm Salvation, but I can see where the "haha, we fooled ya" kind of. I can see Arf turning around in however long a period of time and saying, "Yeah, no, not that. Nice try."
Well, hang on a second, because we actually don't have the full information, because a tweet also came out, and there was apparently...
I was going to say, there's been several tweets, haven't there?
There's been two tweets with hidden messages in them.
Yes.
And I didn't have the time to actually go through and decode them, so I take it's like you have.
I mean, I have people to do that for me. No, that's right.
Because your minions.
I'm so important. No, Katie DM'd me earlier and went, Katie DM'd me today and went, this is one of them. The new one today said from the new discovery linking Azimuth to INRA, that post that they made, there was binary behind it.
Yes.
And the binary behind it was a repeating thing. And if we're going full into spoilers, which we clearly have because Shan sang a song, if we're going fully into spoilers, that is a repeating pattern that says
I see it.
My grand vision allows no room for doubt.
Yeah, that's very obvious binary in there, isn't it?
Yeah, very obvious binary, but I didn't notice it, but Katie saw it and messaged me. Now that in itself is very the language used smacks of Salvation, and I can't remember what the one was on that actually came out on Thursday. I'm just pulling it up now because I know that Cal replied to it.
Oh yeah, that's Morse code.
It was Morse code, and then it was a Caesar cipher with a shift of 8, I believe. That said, I've got it. I am the truth. Ages will not save you. Trust in your salvation.
Right. Okay, so
it said I am the truth. Sorry, to clarify, they missed the H off the end, and I think it was THG as opposed to THE in the. But you know what? I will allow them that. But that the tweets clarified that it was salvation. The further article that came out today seemed to clarify that it was salvation, sort of like doubling down.
Yeah, there's a whole load of. I mean, this is actually a tradition, really, because there does seem to be, whenever these puzzles do happen, there's an in-game event, and then they seem to enhance the in-game event with these outside clues. So it's as if you know you're logged in on SpaceNet or FaceSpace or whatever they use
Facebook.
for social. Spacebook, there you go, for space Twitter, and yeah.
And where was I going? Where was I going with the and?
Were you talking about
also,
Flint?
I was talking about Flint. Yeah. Also, Arth did Flint. Captain Flint had his 2-year stream anniversary on Friday, and he had Arthur on, and he was chatting to Arthur about all manner of things. But Arthur did confirm that we now know who Salvation is.
Yeah. So so effectively that's them confirming that the Salvation and the Witch are exactly the same people. It must be also pointed out that oh no, they said we've now confirmed we know who Salvation is. It's not we've just got a good chance that is this fellow witchery.
What are you on about? Of course it's witchery. He confirmed that there's no one else who it's pointing to be. He said he's Salvation. He literally put it behind the news posts and the tweets and stuff. We had it all confirmed. Bloke, Salvation, mate. No matter how much you want to argue it.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm agreeing with you on the chances of probability. You're probably right. It's just that I would like that 0.01%. You know that critical fail roll.
Do you want them to go walking around with a name badge on their on their Magna pants or something?
Yes, I want his name, Salvation, tattooed into his Magna pants. So,
hello, my name is Salvation.
Do you want a DM from Arthur going, yes, Colin, he's Salvation?
Yes, before I finally believe it, unless I actually see full confirmation in the game, there'll always be a slither of a doubt about this until it's finally confirmed. I'm not. You're probably right. He probably is. It just allowed me that little bit of doubt. Okay.
Sure. Where the hell do you sleep at night, Colin?
I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just holding judgment. Holding back my judgment.
Could this be a Spartacus moment? I'm Salvation. I'm Salvation. I'm Salvation.
I don't know that many people who would want to claim to be Salvation, if I'm honest. You
Well,
need to get the scar and the milky white eye.
And be very old. apparently he's having progenitor cells every day for breakfast.
Well, surely X and most current LaveCon presenters are that old to be Salvation.
I think actually, if you add up all the LaveCon presenters' ages, you'll probably get to the right age. There's not that many of us. Anyway, so I've forgotten where we were going to go with this now. I mean, first of all, reaction to this then. It's been mostly positive. I've seen on the forums a lot of excitement. We know that, well, Psyche, as it unfurled for you, you were certainly a bit overwhelmed by the discoveries. I mean, it did answer that question that you have been dying to know for absolutely ages, though.
The thing is, I genuinely thought it was going to be like a Halloween reveal, because it made more sense for me for it to be a Halloween reveal. Like, okay, we're going to reveal who the witch is and stuff. Just like a random Thursday towards the end of May.
Yep.
It just didn't. It completely blindsided me. It was very exciting.
Yeah.
I realized that I need to get out more, but I was very excited about it because it's the Azimuth saga is the thing that has been that for me I've done the most theorizing on as far as law is concerned. I feel like because I got into like the law story and the story of the game so late, it felt like everything had been resolved by the time I got to it, with the obvious exception of there are some like little bits that could have done with like having further information, which the Azimuth saga is certainly tapping into with things like Black Flight and fucking INRA bases. But like all of that stuff, it's really nice seeing these stories resolving and having connections to the older law, which I maybe wasn't quite so much a part of.
I mean, well, there are two things that I took away from this. The first thing was, okay, first of all, Wycherley mustn't have been that high up in INRA's infrastructure because he didn't know what happened to John Jameson. So where he was right at the beginning of this story, yeah, he was reasonably high up, but he didn't have access to everything. So that kind of tells you that he wasn't the top dog at INRA at the time. The other thing that really jumped out at me is because Salvation and the Witch are probably the same person. Notice, probably. That means that Salvation was directly responsible for the destruction of, first of all, the Alexandria, and for getting rid of Aegis, which is fantastically well plotted, I think.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
And yeah, so basically, #Admiral Tanner was right. He is up to no good, and personally, I wish more people had helped us out with raiding the Taurus Mining Company, or whichever is the front for Salvation. And secondly, this base was actually an old INRA base, which was available to everybody. You didn't need to have just Odyssey. It was available in the Horizons as well. I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, I don't think that we're going to see anything that is only going to be available in Odyssey until probably they stop the consoles. They stop the not rather than giving the consoles updates and stuff and all of those kind of things until they actually fully stop what the console, any sort of like console support at all, even having the servers open or anything like that. That would be my guess when we would only we would start seeing stuff that was only Odyssey.
Really? Because I didn't think that would actually happen. Because this will probably tie into something that we want to talk about later, but I was under the impression that why did you have to send that to me, Ben? That's just distracting. Just to let people know, Ben's just sent me a hello, my name is Caleb Wycherley Salvation business card, which or a label for him to sign into his Magna Pants. Very distracting. I mean, I did miss the fact that there was nothing there to interact with on your in your spaceship on foot. I was hoping that there might have been something to interact with on foot, but I think that they should be able to put Odyssey only content in the game that unfortunately either the consoles or Horizons players just simply can't access. I don't think they're going to lose anything by doing that.
I'd be very surprised. I'd be very surprised. Because when you think about it, when we've had CGs like and I'm going to talk about CGs now in line with all of this as well. But when we've had sort of CGs historically, it's always been stuff that you can do just in like base game without even Horizons. Is it like you can still get, if it's a combat bonds one, you can still go and do the on foot combat bonds and hand those in. And if we get hypothetically, let's say we're going to get Thargoids on foot. I wonder where that might come from, but let's say hypothetically we'll get Thargoids on foot at some point. If there was a CG around it, it will be like Thargoid not conflict zone bonds, and you'll still be able to get those from non-human signal sources and other like in the air CZs as well.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that we're not going to get Thargoids on foot until then, but I think anything like this where it's a lore drop until we lose the console support entirely, then I don't think we're going to get anything that only people on foot can access. I don't think they're going to gatekeep lore from Horizons players because of how proud of the lore and stuff they are. That's my thoughts about it anyway.
Okay then, Sean.
Yeah, looking through the show notes, I did have a think about this, about what I thought about Odyssey only content. And to be honest, I don't have a problem with it. And the reason for that is if you look at other games, particularly MMOs, for example.
Prepare yourself, everybody.
No, I'm not going to mention that game because that is not quite correct. But if you look at other games, whenever there's an expansion and there are different raids or regions or whatever it was that are introduced with that expansion, no one really goes, oh, I can't get to this land because wow, I paid for the base game. No, it's part of the expansion. So if you want to do that bit of content, you need to buy the expansion. That's kind of how it goes. And I don't see why Frontier should. It sounds horrible. Why Frontier should have everything inclusive? Because that's not just what happens in games for good reasons. And yes, it's regrettable console users can't get that content, but then that's just kind of how the game is, really. Sorry if I sound grumpy, but it's just you buy the expansion.
One of the reasons that they've said that they're taking the actions that they've taken is because basically they feel that they're being held back at the moment and they need to progress the story, and they need to progress the story using Odyssey. So, I mean, this is the first step, which is obviously still available to everybody, but there might be points further down the line where Yeah, it is Odyssey only, and we might have Odyssey only CGs. I mean, I know in the past they've had. They didn't do CGs for Horizons when you had the base game and Horizons as separate things. I thought that was a mistake. Obviously,
I agree with you. I absolutely, I agree. I mean, I agree with both of you on this fact. I'm just saying, historically, based on what's gone on, what's gone on previously, until there is such a point wherein like Horizon support, or like there is Horizons isn't there anymore. For want of a better word, I just don't see it happening that it will be exclusive. Now, does that mean that that's going to stop Thargoids on Foot being a thing? Because that's like clearly that's what everything is pointing to. I will quite happily eat my hat. I have to buy a hat, but I quite happily will eat my hat if that is not the case. But that will still there will still be alien Thargoid things that you can do within Horizons and Odyssey. Sorry, within both Horizons and Odyssey, that will potentially yield the same rewards in the same way that combat bonds at CZs in space and on foot count as the same combat bonds. They have the same sort of identifier, as it were. So that's for me why it's the bit what they needed to progress with. They needed to now concentrate on getting that Thargoid on Foot stuff going.
Exactly. I mean, they need to give people an incentive to buy Odyssey, and in the base game Horizons, it's not as though there's nothing to do there either. So. You know, I haven't got a problem with it, and I understand people's noses being out of joint. But you just kind of have to say, well, this is the direction we're going, and you, the player, have a choice whether to carry on that journey or find something else to play.
Yeah, apparently, Psyche has been told there is a sun hat.
I like that hat. I'm not eating that hat.
Okay. We will have to. If I have
What
to.
hat? What hat? Come on, we need pictures of said hat.
It's a sun hat.
We need to find out. We need to find out the kind of edible hat that that Psychic can eat.
I think it's a straw hat like Wurzel Gummidge has or something.
It's a sun hat, like what a sun hat looks like.
Yeah, it has. I mean, Arthur's said in the past that the current Azimuth story will be for everybody. So there's going to be an awful lot of Horizons only content coming. However, after that, well, then it's going to be all the gloves are off. Oh, come on, Sean.
Well, on what Arth said is that the content will be for everyone. It doesn't mean to say the same content will be accessible to everyone. It may be, for example, that there's a space to planet bit that Horizons players can join in, as well as an on-foot part that Odyssey players can join in, or is all part of the same activity. So it doesn't necessarily make it, everyone for everyone. It could just be there's an on-foot part that you can take part in, or there's an on-space part that you can take part in, but both sets of people are involved.
Like with combat bonds at the moment, as I was saying, yeah.
Right. Well, I think we're actually beginning to run out of time on this one. So overall, obviously, I mean, I'm fairly chuffed about this. I mean, I know that Psychic, pretty obvious that you are.
I don't know what you're talking about, Colin. I'm gutted. I'm gutted, and I love it. Can I do like a little tiny my little tiny prediction? Can I just like tap that on now? Is that okay with regard to like the Golconda and stuff? We were talking about it today.
Yes. You want to talk about the Golconda. Go on.
I mean it has all of the hallmarks of like how excited everybody is, and all of the Golconda, the previous occupants of the Golconda, how excited they are that they've managed to combine this older technology with the new technology, and it's all wonderful and happy and shiny and light. And I am genuinely concerned that the next, like as soon as that jumps away, the next broken ship that we find is going to be the remnants of the Golconda with new logs. Because they will probably move the logs that are currently on the Golconda onto the settlement thing, and I've got this image of like all happy and shiny and like big peak, and then the pride comes before the fall, and I'm expecting, because they talked again, Salvation talked about a mothership, like a hive ship.
Yep.
He dropped that, so I'm kind of crossing everything for the Golconda to be destroyed by a mothership. And I hate that. I hate that. I would fucking hate that. And I think that makes the stakes higher. That would make the stakes a lot higher, because I know so many people with that Golconda decal.
Yeah.
And who helped put the Golconda where it is during the whole of that amazing interstellar initiative as it was before. If the Thargoids destroy and attack the Golconda because it's wandered too far into the territory, then I feel like it's just like explosions.
I hate to say it.
Explosions and deaths.
I know that Ben will probably agree with me. If they do that, it'll be a very Babylon 5 thing to do.
Probably. A lot of these things have happened before.
See, I think they'll use my prediction for a better thing. My prediction is the Golconda will be used by the antagonists to escape, and therefore will be brought back in time for the sequel or limited streaming series.
God. Yeah,
I think that's a reference to an old like an old TV series that I don't understand.
Yeah, all of this has happened before and will happen again.
Basically, it'll be a MacGuffin, so they can carry the story on in some way.
Yeah, that's a Battlestar Galactica thing. Hang on, I'm just getting a bit confused because there's no there's no fleet there to defend. It's just one ship.
Yeah, I think that's my prediction, is that Golconda go boom, bye bye. Another bit of audio logs of like terror and being attacked by a giant ship that is bigger than any other.
Yeah.
Than any other thing that they've ever seen before, and then more stuff from Salvation or Mr. Wycherley, Caleb the Witch, whatever you want to call him. More stuff from him going, I am your salvation, I will fix all of this, and missions where we have to go and fight Thargoids on foot next year, beginning of the year. It's going to be chuffing amazing, and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I hope doesn't happen is that we basically get that exact scenario, but then there's a little log at the end which seems to imply that it's been a false flag operation and Salvation wiped out the Golconda.
I mean, it more than likely, because we know that he's a nefarious little bastard.
Well, I mean, yeah, all of these guys are nefarious little bastards.
The thing is, in sci-fi, no one ever dies, so not.
No one's dead until you see a body.
Well, not even then.
Tell that to Salome.
And John Jameson.
Oh no! I'm going to get a load of abuse for that.
Yeah, especially seeing as Salome's been seen wandering the galaxy.
Oh, has she now? Yeah.
Oh yeah, because
Drew's son flies.
Drew's son flies her.
Yeah, even though she's officially dead.
I just find that hilarious.
Yeah, that's the thing is, Salome left and now she's come back, so that's entirely consistent.
Let's move on from that quickly. The one thing, the final thing that I wanted to take away from this is there was the hint that they tried that Wycherley observed a live Thargoid escaping from from its cell. Now, admittedly, they had to subdue it. They didn't have to. They had to subdue it, and they had to keep it alive. But it turns out it probably caused an awful lot of casualties. Is that going to mean that these Thargoids are going to be hard? Go on, Ben.
I don't know about you guys, but I liked what he was saying there, especially about implying the mindlessness of it. I mean, it might have just been a case of the witch being blatantly speciesist, which does happen, but it also made me think about several tropes where you've got like almost like a ruling species and a more subservient but more disposable pawns, basically, as that you can also throw out, and it raises the whole multiple breeds of psychic ships. No, of Thargoid ships.
Don't tell everyone, Ben. I told you that in secrecy.
Well, it could be cut down to something simple as a hive mind, which is similar
and
to
it's
what
been disconnected from the hive mind.
Yeah, so it's like the Geth in Mass Effect.
Yeah.
The more of them that are about, the more intelligent they are. But when there are just one or two of them, they're pretty thick.
Yeah, but
It's like
I
Code
do
Wars.
like.
There's a race of like rats called Skrit in Guild Wars, and if you get one of them, they're really stupid. But if you get loads of them, they are super clever.
Okay, but I do like the idea though of basically having dumb soldiers which we can wipe out without really worrying about the consequences. Just like the Thargoid scouts.
Yeah.
But when you start getting up the ranks, then they really do take notice, and they're the ones who are well-armed, as it were.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the captured Thargoid thing was actually covered in one of the other INRA bases.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Stack. Yeah,
yeah.
So if you want to actually find out what happened with that Thargoid, it's still available in the audio logs. Now I'm going to bring this to an end because I've just seen the time. I'll just quickly want to touch on a couple of things which have happened in the community this week. Not much has actually happened, surprisingly enough. Right. Alec Turner in the community corner is doing a circumnavigation of call 359 sector BE-Q C6-07B in Odyssey in his SRV. He's on day 4, and we're going to put a link into the show notes. He's actually enjoying it. No doubt I'll get told otherwise if he's not.
Oh.
But
he is a bit of a freak, though.
Yes.
And there's nothing wrong with being a bit of a freak, but he is.
Yeah, and it's fun to watch. I mean, he's cut it up into about 17-minute segments, but yeah, and also just seeing him, he handles the SRV like unbelievable.
Yeah,
makes it do things that you can't think is possible. So yeah, if you want Flyvy tips rather, go watch how he does it, because it's very, very much like flying a helicopter, but with only one of the controls. It's really good. Incidentally, Obsidian Ant did a 2.5 hour stream with a couple of other people, and he did the 1 year retrospective of Odyssey. So if you want his opinions on that, that is now available. And this is something that I've just found out today. Dinkley Bird on the forums. Now, I've yet to confirm it, but he's discovered that if you actually launch Horizons with a certain command prompt instead of going through the launcher, you can actually launch Horizons, but with the Odyssey engine. And apparently, it's Horizons, but with the Odyssey planetary tech. Now, I have still got to confirm that myself. I'm going to try and give it a try for next week, just to see whether or not it's true. But if that's the case, it kind of shows that they're not that far off actually merging the community back together again.
Would you pay real money for it to be the other way around?
Well, that's the thing, because there's a lot of people who are unhappy because basically they don't have a machine that will run 4.0. Apparently, it's version 4.0, and the current version of Horizons is 3.8. They don't think they've got the hardware to be able to run 4.0 Horizons, and that's the issue. So yeah, but it does seem to imply that it's not going to be that difficult to merge the community. Which the ironic factor is if they do that, the only place you'd get standard Horizons or Horizons as we know it would be on console. There's irony for you. So moving on from there, mostly Clueless. Psychic, you found out something today.
I genuinely found out something today. So if you're taking missions, and this is a big thanks to Phoenix Blue, they were very, very helpful and gave me this information. I'm yet to fully flesh it out and confirm whether or not their advice is entirely accurate. However, when you take missions, if you choose a takedown mission, it will take you to an anarchy settlement, which you can take down every single person on that site and not worry about nefariousness, and notoriety, and bounties. And you can steal everything that isn't bolted down, and it is excellent. And I found that out today. We did maybe about 4 or 5 of them, and they were all to anarchy settlements. And yeah, you could kill all the Kevins and the Derricks you wanted because they know what they did.
We have been told off.
You have been told off for that.
We got told off by a Commander Derrick.
So sorry, Commander Derrick. Not you specifically, just all the other ones know what they did.
Is it me, or is Commander Derrick really being a bit of a Karen?
Ooh, I'm not touching that with a barge pole.
The person you're looking for to complain to is Commander Edelweiss. Thank you. Thank you, indeed.
So hang on, we had a Derek objecting to us committing Derek's side.
Yes, effectively. Yes. He wanted us. He's
Isn't
okay
that
with
a little bit like turkeys voting for Christmas?
It's voting against Christmas. I don't think Commander Derrick was voting for Derek's side. He was voting against Derek's side. He was absolutely fine with the Kevin side, but not the Derek side.
Well, that's hardly diverse, is it? That's hardly diverse, is it?
Right, moving on from there. Now, there was going to be some any other business because obviously Obi-Wan came out, which I wanted to really go on about, but we've really run out of time. And yeah, we've had
the only way it could go.
Oh, again, there's Shan not happy with it.
No, who was saying that was a negative? It's gone the story-wise, it's gone the only way it could have gone and still keep episode 4 intact.
Well, we're going to come back to. We'll probably come back to it next week because there's another episode on Friday, and I must admit, I'm looking forward to it. But we've covered what Karen brought up about the get your platinum tickets now. So let's have some shout-outs. Episode 3 of Dex Legacy. Interlude 1, The Brilliant Minds That Rule. That will premiere Lave Radio next week on the 7th at 8 o'clock. For more information, go to thedexlegacy.com. Our sister station, Hutton Orbital Radio, it broadcasts on a Thursday at 8:30 at twitch.tv Hutton Orbital Truckers or radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commanders that like a bit of CQC action, check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous. Giving shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts. So there's Allograb AM, Canon Podcast, the Elite Cast for Spanish speakers. There's the Fatherhood podcast. Who have we got on Flight Assist this week?
Commander Chig. Yeah, Commander Chig. I've done a lot. Also, we have Flight Assist is doing an announcement tomorrow. Have a look on our socials. Thanks. Okay,
moving on. We have the Guard Frequency, who do other space sims. Actually, any space game now, apparently. Yeah, they've just passed 400. We'll also say hello to the Loose Screws with the aforementioned Commander Jig, who is still obsessed with cheese, and of course the still squeaking fuel. So there's also the Data Slate podcast, which Alan will produce when he has time. For those of you who are interested, we have the latest Galnet News Digest, as provided by Commander Witherspoon and Commander Beetlejude. And in the game today, I know that I have seen and who's sat with me. I've got Commander Mindwipe and Commander Cyber Hunter. They're actually sat with me in Lave Station. So I would wave to them. And after update 12, I'll probably will be able to wave to them. But in other words, Miggles, No Threepolis, Togusa, Mr. Firemoon, Dr. Bangalore, and Alexander and Antonoli. Oh, for goodness sake. Him. Very Italian sounding name, have all been hanging around with the Chris Mark IV and around the Inma site, so that's been quite nice. And we also have to, of course, to say special thanks to Commander Tokuso, Jay Antrax, and Alan Stroud, who have created music for this show. So before I wrap up, anybody got any last comments?
Yes.
I thought so, Shan. Go on then, just quickly.
Couple of things. I think any name that you cannot pronounce, you should just call them Derek or Kevin.
Yes, there'll be an awful lot of them. Go on.
And I wonder if said Commanders Derek and any Commander Kevins have targets painted on their Magna pants.
Again, Magna pants. Oh dear. Right. I think. Hey, Mac Winston's complaining. I get Mac's name right now because for the first, I think, year I was always calling him Mark, but it's not.
How can you
there.
get Mark's name right? And it's almost as bad as calling Commander Windpipe Philpipe.
Yes,
or something like that.
That's it, that as well. Anyway, that's it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with the show, you can email info@laveradio.com, hit us up at facebook.com/laveradio, tweet us at Lave Radio. You can join our Discord server by going to discord.io/laveradio. We also have a TeamSpeak server where your commanders come and hang out and chat. You can find that at teamspeak.laveradio.com. Now do get in touch if you've got any questions or if there's anything you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 and streamed out at laveradio.com. So thanks to Psychit, thanks to Ben, and thanks to Commander Shan, and special thanks today. Tech is the Chris Mark IV. Psychit, do you think it was that weird?
I mean, it only gets weird when you force it to get weird. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, fair enough. I didn't think it was that weird. I think the weirdness seemed to level out towards the end. But until next time, commanders, fly safe, and if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this? Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. Need a safe word.
Space can be doing.
I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Galnet News Digest, 31st of May 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, Salvation fails to respond to Tesro's plea to the superpowers. Calico Zack announces his candidacy, and we check up on Thargoids and Dredgers.
Salvation has so far failed to respond to Professor Albert Tesro's appeal to the superpowers to halt their collaboration with the secretive scientist. Tesro's call comes after an anonymous tip-off was investigated by a number of pilots loyal to Aegis, revealing an abandoned base belonging to the Intergalactic Naval Reserve Arm in the DG Canum Venaticorum system, and evidence that Azimuth Biochemicals worked there on a contract to attack a Thargoid hive ship with a deadly mycoid bioweapon, an attack that caused the Thargoids to withdraw completely from human space for many decades. Those events were nearly 160 years ago, but it seems possible that Azimuth Biochemicals' then Vice President of Research, Caleb Wycherley, nicknamed The Witch, took it upon himself then to mastermind the eventual total defeat of the Thargoids, and that through the use of progenitor cells he remains alive and working to defeat the Thargoids today. If he's the same witch that masterminded Project Seraph in 3202 and 3303, resulting in the death of countless human test subjects, and if he's the same witch that stole 400,000 tons of Guardian technology from the Aegis megaship Alexandria, leaving its 4,000 crew members to die, then his willingness to put to one side his moral scruples in order to achieve his goal cannot be doubted. But there's more. Tesro's anonymous tip-off suggested that investigating this abandoned site would reveal to us who Salvation really is. Caleb Wycherley, the Witch, says in the recovered logs that he is willing to be humanity's salvation. If this is evidence that Salvation is the Witch, then those currently working to help Salvation develop his superweapon may need to examine their consciences and decide whether the techniques employed and the incidental deaths of thousands of humans is justified by the goal of eliminating the Thargoids. It is not at all a clear-cut case. The Thargoids have also caused many thousands of deaths through combat and when they attack starports, but it begins to seem like Salvation might not be quite as honest, quite as upstanding, quite as blameless as he's led us to believe.
Zachary Rackham, the trillionaire business magnate and ex-pirate, the man who built shipyards in Colonia, who sponsored the Dura Drive, who fought off a hostile bid by a rival gang to take over his business empire. The man who currently possesses the Picasso masterpiece Guernica and who owns most of the Beta Hydra system, the most extraordinary and privileged self-made man, renowned for creating his fortune by ruthlessly exploiting the misfortunes of others, has decided to run for the federal presidency as a representative of the little guy. Announcing his candidacy, Rackham, who is known for naming all his properties and businesses after himself, and who has published a work of auto-hagiography entitled The Art of the Steal, invoked, as he always does, his alleged early days as a trader in a rusty old sidewinder, days which some believe were spent stealing cargo at gunpoint from other, more honest traders. Despite his humble origins, went on Rackham, he had been persuaded by many good citizens that the Federation needs a humble but competent servant from a corporate, not necessarily corporatist, background to shake up the old tired parties, to drain the swamp, to sweep aside the old tired words of politics, and to represent the little guys in the federal government. Being a privileged insider appealing to the disenfranchised masses on the outside is a well-worn but highly successful play, and it seems that Rackham might be in with a chance when the elections come round in 3309. Many voters who chose not to participate in the 3300 elections may turn out if given the choice of a new and charismatic figurehead. It seems unlikely that either the Republican or Liberal parties would choose Rackham as their candidate. Following the unfortunate death of the Vice President Brad Mitchell, President Hudson is seeking a change in legislation to allow him to stand for another term, and Shadow President Felicia Winters remains popular in Liberal circles. Rackham's choices are likely to be either to form a new party or to stand as an independent candidate. Details are expected to emerge in the coming weeks.
Whatever Salvation might be up to, there seems to be little practical need for his next-generation superweapon in the galaxy this week. The Thargoid incursions have all been cleared, with the Paucuman system returned to normality earlier this week, and the last damaged station has been repaired too, with Jani Bekov station in Sosong due to resume normal operation on Thursday. Combat pilots hoping to be surprised by a massive hive ship suddenly appearing in the Pleiades, or for thousands of Thargoids to appear as a massed army on the horizon, will probably be disappointed this weekend, as the Thargoids seem to be having trouble fielding a full team of scouts and interceptors. Unless Salvation decides to lay bait to lure Thargoids to return, it looks like a quiet week ahead.
In Dredger news, the Blue Viper Club Dredger has finally disappeared from the Pegasi Sector PN-T C3-14 system, taking with it the mercenaries that had tried, unsuccessfully, to defeat Pirate King Archon Delane. Former Arch-Corsair and Rebel Kay Valentine is believed to have been aboard the Dredger, and former Arch-Corsair and Rebel Vidar Trask was killed in action last week. This leaves Arch-Corsair and Delane loyalist Callan Salamanca as the only Arch-Corsair left in Delane's inner circle of Arch-Corsairs, leaving it less of a circle and more of a straight line. The Artificer clan Dredger in Upa Nicholas continues to repair the Golconda megaship while carefully leaving the habitation quarters untouched. Vox Galactica reports the reaction of Golcondans on seeing the nearly finished renovations with gleaming new control panels intricately assimilated into the ancient ship's systems. The habitation rings have been fitted with modern life support while maintaining their original character, and the ancient sublight propulsion system has been augmented with a modern megaship-class frameshift drive, giving the Golconda a near-instant 500 light-year jump range. Captain Forrester was reportedly reduced to tears when he saw these improvements. The artificers who have been refitting the Golconda for free as part of their life duty of tech love are described as hurrying about their business, speaking together in rapid dialect as they effect repairs, wearing diagnostic scanners over their eyes, dressed in overalls and laden down with tool belts and equipment. They have accepted the Golcondan's offer of fresh produce, including the famous Apavieti spirit, in recognition of their hard work on the Generation ship. It seems inevitable now that Forrester's choice may soon be abandoned, as the Golcondans set out on a new voyage of discovery. And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the longest sentence in the world so you don't have to.